Hi, it's Becky here from BBStudio.London. I'm a huge believer in positive affirmations, and I've been popping them on Instagram every Monday as like our Monday mantra. Now, what are positive affirmations and why do we have them, or why would you use them? In short, they're a brain training statement, and they help us to shift our focus from one that might be a negative thought and then channel it into one that's more positive. How they work, it is a short, snappy statement that you can repeat to yourself, and as a result, it either acts as a pattern interrupter or as an anchor thought to help kind of start your day in the way that you'd like it to be, or to start an occasion, or to get yourself in the mood for an event or a project or a meeting or anything that you want to do really well with. When I talk about a pattern interrupter, if we have our thoughts going through our minds all the time, we often think the same thought patterns. And some of these serve us and are really positive and help us feel energized, help us feel like we're capable of doing anything, help us feel courageous and creative and strong and powerful, and others make us feel smaller, make us recoil, and aren't really serving us very well. And these ones perhaps like more negative thought patterns, and often we can spiral once we've started with one, and then it can just get worse and worse and worse. And these can be in all different areas of your life. It could be to do with what you look like, it could be to do with how you feel about how you show up at work, it could be to do with your relationship, it could be to do with how you run your business. It can be anything at all that we have these different thought patterns about. Now, if our thought pattern is a negative one and we start on that spiral and then we're just starting to get smaller and smaller, the outcome of that is that we disconnect from our confidence, we disconnect from any kind of creativity, we want to create ourselves to feel smaller, and as a result we'll miss opportunities. We're not going to show up as our best, and we're going to manifest more frustration. What we focus on, we create more of. So if we're thinking that we are not very good at something, or that we're not worthy, that we are insignificant, that we're unlovable, we're not going to be stepping out in the same behaviours or taking the action we would if we were to think something more positive. So the affirmations can be anything at all, as long as they are positive, they are something that part of you believes. It doesn't have to be all of you. There might be like a statement that you think, I'd love to believe this, but I don't. Well, part of you might well believe it, and another part is having conflict with it. Lean into the part that believes it a little bit. As we think a thought, and if we think it again and again and again and again, it creates a pathway in our brain, almost like a little groove. If it's one that's negative, I love the phrase, we get stuck in a rut. We're literally following that pathway and it's not serving us. It's not making you feel good. In fact, it's stopping you from living the life that you really want to live and the one that you really deserve. So we're stuck in that groove, in that pathway. But if it's one that we aspire to be, so let's say the statement is, I am successful, but you don't actually feel successful, then maybe, or I am lovable, or I am loved, or I am beautiful, whatever it is, even if a bit of you doesn't believe it, keep saying it again and again. The more we say it, the same way that we have done with our negative thoughts, the more we say it, it creates a pathway in our brain, a new groove, a new way of thinking. And the more we say it, the more likely we are to believe it. It's incredible. We can literally rewire our brains so that when we, how we talk to ourselves, the self-talk that we have, can channel us into becoming the person that we want to become. Now, I've got every Monday, you will now see a beautiful positive affirmation, and it is, some will really connect with you and some won't feel as good for you, whatever works for you, and you can create your own as well. I'll just give you a couple of examples. So one could be, I am powerful, I am strong, I am successful, I am in control. I love this one particularly if you feel anxious a lot. I am in control. I trust my instincts. Good things are happening for me. I love my body and I am comfortable in my own skin. The answers are all within me. This is what a successful woman looks like. Now, obviously, I've put woman because that's how I identify, but if you identify differently, then you can just insert what feels good for you. And that one's a really nice one to say in the mirror. So that is what positive affirmations are, and there are so many different ways that you can use them. You can do it through repetition. The more we say them, the more likely we can start to create that pathway in our brain, and the more likely it is that we'll actually start to believe it more and more. The same way that we once believed something negative about ourselves. You can say them in the mirror, like the last one I suggested, this is what a successful woman looks like, or this is what a confident woman looks like, or this is what a confident person looks like. You can say that to yourself in the mirror, especially when you might see people on telly or on YouTube or wherever, and they don't look like you, like they look all jazzy, they look all glam, or you know, like normally you'll find me in bare feet and like in my living room, but that's what I feel like. And sometimes when I look in the mirror, I feel like, oh well, that if, you know, a successful woman's, you know, dead smart and got perfect this, got perfect that. So by saying it to yourself in the mirror, that can be really, really empowering. You can also write them down. So you can say them to yourself out loud, in your head, in front of a mirror. You can write them down, great to use as journaling. So if you do any journaling anyway, you can like pop it in at the start of your day or whenever you want to do your journaling practice. You can use them before a yoga practice. If you do like a movement practice of any sort, yoga tends to have a little bit more of like a focus at the beginning where you're kind of like gathering yourself, kind of getting into your zone. It's quite nice to insert your little affirmation there. And you can also, one of my favourite things to do is write them on a post-it note and pop them around the house, so that as you're going about your day, as you pop in the fridge and you see a little post-it note, you can be like, you can just say it to yourself as well. When you say it, I recommend saying it to yourself in your head. I hugely recommend saying it out loud. Now, this can feel a little bit silly at first, and you might find yourself smiling or laughing. That's fine. Any emotions that come up are valid and fine. Just let them flow, let them pass, and keep at it. The more that we say it out loud, it helps a different part of our brain hear it, because it's almost like we're hearing it from an external person. And we tend to believe people that say things to us externally, especially if it's said with conviction and with authority. So if you say it in a really kind of strong voice, you're more likely to take it in. One of my favourite things, I also recommend saying it whilst moving your body. So have a little dance, you can sing it if you want to, you can just move your body, do little squats, whatever works for you. But when we move our body, it starts to release some more emotions, it starts to release endorphins, and that will implant the affirmation even more. So that one's a really good one. You can whisper it, you can shout it, you can sing it, you can say it in the shower, whatever works for you. And the more we say it, the more you believe it. When you're using them as like post-it notes around the house, or maybe you have like a little one that you have next to your bedside table, so you read it before you go to bed and the first thing you do when you wake up, it can also be used as an anchor thought in that process. So it starts to become a thought that we can go to kind of ground ourselves, center ourselves, find ourselves feeling more stable. And that's a really nice way of doing it. Pop it in your bag, so then if you're on your way to a meeting, you can just have a quick look at it. I am grounded, I'm centered, I'm confident, I'm successful, I am powerful. Pop it back in, off you pop, and it can really shift how you start to feel about yourself. If you would like any affirmations and suggestions, obviously check us out on Instagram. It's at BBStudio.London. Or I've also popped some in a little PDF that you can download. So have a little look at the bottom of the blog and you'll be able to click on them and download them. So then you can cut them out, pop them around the house if you want to. And they're just suggestions. You can, of course, create your own and add any additional ones that you feel good with. Enjoy. If you've got any questions, then feel free to get in touch. You can email me at hello@BBStudio.London.